Hey everybody, it's GauntletX, and welcome back to some more Magic Arena. Today we're going to be playing another premiere draft of Modern Horizons 3. Without further ado, let's get into our pack 1 pick 1. This is a really weak, really disappointing pack overall. We're just taking a fine role filler for basically any deck we play. Zealot is a nice tapper for energy decks. Refurbished Familiar is nice for artifact decks. And then the strongest card in the pack, regardless of what deck it goes into or mana value or anything like that, is probably Wormcoil Larva by a tiny bit. Splitting into 3 creatures total, 1 when you play it and then 2 when it dies, is just pretty decent value. Again, there's really nothing exciting in that pack, which is rough. In a format like this where the set has enough strong cards that packs can be super wild, seeing a pack like that is kind of a bummer, where it's like, I guess Wormcoil Larva. Well, there's not much to look at there. Pick 2, we have pretty solid interaction out of blue with Sink into Stupor. That's just a pretty good instant in general, and having the backup plan of using this in your opener as a land, if you don't have enough lands, is nice. So I like Sink into Stupor here. Again, not too many other options. Pretty weak packs so far. Drowner of Truth is fine for Eldrazi deck. Flare of Denial is a fine counterspell. But I think we just Sink into Stupor here. Pick 3. Great Boros aggro card with Conduit Goblin if we want to head in a completely different direction. Glimpse the Impossible is red's solid draw spell for the format. Unfathomable Truths is a solid draw spell out of blue. We could also lock in on blue-black with the Sneaky Snacker here. So if we cast any draw 2s during our turn, or any draw 3s during our opponent's turn, we get to reanimate all these things, which is a rough time for any more aggressive deck with a bunch of like 2 toughness and less creatures. Then you just trade this off, reanimate it, trade it off, reanimate it, and just super win those matchups. Harrogast is fun, but not the most powerful of the Eldrazi payoffs. We can see if we can try to do a Sneaky Snacker deck today. Never managed to play that archetype yet. And for pick 4, Breathe Your Last is one of the best cards out of this pack, just a great removal spell. So we can take that. Other options are great aggro cards like Pyro Surfer, Mandibular Kite, or the Zealot for a good energy deck, but those are all dabbling into a third color of picks. Pick 5. Riddlegate Gargoyle is the best card here, in my opinion. I think it's just very, very important for the blue-white energy decks. They tend to be flyer decks that are trying to outrace your opponent with big lifelink swings thanks to the Riddlegate Gargoyles. I don't think anything else here is really important for its archetype or going to fit super well into blue-black. I guess Gargantua fits fine into blue-black. We can use this ability during our turn to adapt it. Draw 2 cards, that'll be 3 cards drawn total. That will reanimate the Snacker, so I could fully lock in with Gargantua, but I think I'd rather stay flexible with how good and how important Gargoyle is for blue-white. And now for pick 6, we could take Bespoke Battle Wagon, another card towards an energy deck, towards blue-white energy. Blue-black energy is really not a thing, so this is not going to fit super well. We lock in on blue-black. But if we want to go for a full pivot off of this Gargoyle, we can head in the blue-white direction with the Battle Wagon. A second Wormcoil Larva could also just solidify us into black and lock in the other direction. Yeah, this is a pretty committal pick here no matter what we do. I think I'll go ahead and lock it on blue-black. We have not played that deck a single time yet, and it should be pretty fun. And Serum Visionary is an excellent blue value play. Draw a card, scry 2. Pick 8. I like the Waterlogged Teachings here, really just for the Inundated Archive for a blue-black deck that has double black costs and double blue costs. Helping the mana base is going to be big here, so treat this as a blue-black dual land. We are almost never going to cast the instant. The Eviscerator's Insight is cool for a deck that has a lot of Sneaky Snackers, but I don't think we need to take it highly, because almost nobody else really wants that card. So I think we can get 1 or 2 copies of that late. The idea is we can sack a Sneaky Snacker, draw 2, and then that'll be the 3rd draw for turn. Sneaky Snacker will come back to the board when the Insight resolves. Pick 9, go ahead and take Consuming Corruption and try to be the heaviest black drafter at the table. Pick 10, there is a blue-black fetch. That looks fine to me. Although Flare of Denial with Sneaky Snacker Could actually be kind of sweet. A very expendable blue creature to sacrifice because with enough card draw on the deck, you can keep reanimating it. Yeah, I'm going to take Flare of Denial over Landscape here. That actually seems pretty fun. And there's the Unfathomable Truths to reanimate the Snacker at instant speed. Pick 11 Conduit Goblin is absolutely criminal, though. So I don't think it would be insane to take that and take that as a huge like Boros sign and just drop everything and try to be Boros aggro. But we're not going to do that here. Yeah, we could have taken Goblin, pivot into the Zealot here. No, Nightblade might be okay if we get that random like Treasure Producer or something. Okay, so what do we got? Pack 2, pick 1. Necro Dominance. Skip your draw step at the beginning of your end step. You may pay any amount of life to draw that many cards. Your maximum hand size is 5. If a card or token is put into your graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead. Probably not great in a regular draft format, but in like a cube or something where you can combo off with this, that would be wild. I don't think we want that. Brain Surge looks like a high pickup. If we can get all the sneaky snackers in the draft pod, that'll be another way to reanimate them all at instant speed. So I like that. Blue removal here. These are blue's best removal spells, but because we're playing black as well, we probably just find better removal out of that color and pass up on the blue removal. So it's mainly Brain Surge versus like Riddle Keeper as a big finisher, but I'm going to go for the Brain Surge. Pack 2, pick 2. Here's another sneaky snacker. This seems like an incredibly big deal for this deck now that we have the Flare of Denial to go with it. The Unfathomable Truths for the Reanimate, the Gargantua for another draw 2. Yeah, I think we have to take this really, really highly, just in case there's anybody else in blue-black in the pod. Marauder's another great card to work with it if we can get some Marauders later. Pick 3, there's not much going on here. Demon Inferior actually does seem pretty good for blue-black, though, because we're already wanting to play a lot of card draw, which is going to make this 1 mana interaction if we've drawn at least 3 cards during our turn when we play it, which is something we're already working on. So actually Demon Inferior over the Meddler. Pick 4, Wither and Bloom, great instant speed removal, although Tune the Narrative is solid here. I'm going to take the Wither and Bloom. Pick 5, there's the Accursed Marauder, another great card to go with the Snacker. Maybe get a Transmigrant later to go with it as well. Viscerator's Insight for Snacker combo, but I can also just play big card draw that doesn't make me sack a card like Brain Surge. We want to take some landscapes to go with this ideally. Pick 7, Unfathomable Truths, but now I have double Brain Surge, 1 Unfathomable Truths already. There's a Gargantua to draw 2 during our turn. We're on 4 ways to bring it back already. I think we're doing really, really good on that. I'm going to take Lethal Throwdown. Although, that probably gets cut, right? Because we have Corruption, Breathe Your Last, Flare of Denial already, Wither and Bloom as well. Too late. I actually think I probably should have taken Unfathomable Truths there. Because I think we just have enough good removal that even though that removal spell synergizes with Sneaky Snacker, because they're easy to sacrifice, I just have so much removal I don't need situational removal like that. This pack's bad. We're not playing any of this. Pick 9. I'll play another Demon Inferior. Although Flooded Strand to go with the double Brain Surge is a thing. Yeah, no, that's pretty fun. We'll Flooded Strand to go with the Brain Surgers, do the literal fetch land. Here's a Tempest Harvester to set up. Couple draws. I'm not going to bury it alive our Sneaky Snackers. I mean, yeah, it's cute, but we need like 4 Sneaky Snackers before I feel like that would be consistently worth the 3 mana. Because if I draw it late game after I already drew a snacker or 2 and it's only finding 1 from the deck, like, it's very bad. Tune the Narrative seems fine. Although with the amount of big card draw that we have, it's probably going to end up getting cut. And we've got a 23 card deck already. I mean, we're running a land, so it's 22 non-lands, but still, we've got a full deck and a whole other pack to just make it better, which is a great spot to be. This pack 3 pick 1, doesn't make it better at all, though. This pack sucks. I mean, we just opened every Riddlegate Gargoyle in the universe. We could have played blue-white for the 15th draft in a row. But I think I'm happy to be in our unique little blue-black position. Pick Transmigrant to go with Marauder. And Lethal Throwdown, I guess. Or Eviscerator's Insight, but we've got better card draw. I'll take the Transmigrant. Alright, here's another draw 3 payoff that can be pretty good. Mindless Conscription. So a 3-mana 3/3. And every time we draw 3, we get to amass 3 again. So we make it a 6/6, or if it's dead, then we make a new 3/3. Seems good. We're already going for that strat. So we take that. If we can wield Deep Analysis, that'll be incredible. But if not, Aether Spike also seems good. Ooh, Psychic Frog? That's perfect as well, right? I mean, it only draws us 1 card, but it's just an insane threat. Keep buffing it up over the game every time we draw expendable cards. You can exile cards from our grave to give it flying. Yeah, Psychic Frog seems incredible. Just an incredible cheap little value threat like that. Ooh, I want to take Sneaky Snacker over Mindless Conscription, although both are very, very good for this deck. Even the Kami of Jealous Thirst is good, but I'm going to take Sneaky Snacker. I really like the Flare of Denial combo there in particular. Pick 5? Alright. I'm not going to play an off-color fetch land just to shuffle with the double brain surge here, so I will take this Buried Alive. If I end up with 5 Sneaky Snackers, then I'll put it in, but I don't think it's right to do so. Pick 6, Hopebender Coatl seems fine, because if your opponent tries to cast something without the mana to pay for it, you get a huge, huge, huge benefit. A huge 2-for-1 from this thing. I like that a lot. Shadow Spinner is good, though, because when it attacks, you trigger all of your draw 3 cards, so it's a great synergy piece. But I really like that Coatl 2-for-1. Off-color landscape, we take the Harvester. Pick 8. There's an on-color landscape for an on-color fetch to go with the double brain surge. The Meddler for another beefy creature would be fine too. But I've got double Larva, Gargantua, and a Meddler, so we have 4 4-drops already. Get the landscape. This was the useless pack. I mean, the only good card in here was Gargoyle, and it's still there. Just gonna rare draft this thing. Oh, the Gargoyles, it's so sad, but we got Deep Analysis. Multiple ways to draw 3 cards during our turn, and Shadow Spinner to do that. And this is such a weird draft pod. Pick 13 Conduit Goblin out of the last pack as well. The first and last pack. Well, we got a cool, unique deck that I have not played yet, so I'm just going to be happy with that. I'm not going to try to look back too sadly on what we passed up here. There are certainly other strong decks to play, but this looks like a strong one as well, and we've got room to cut a lot of cards. Alright, so we get to cut 7 cards out of here. Probably don't need a massive creature count. We're not doing great on other energy producers outside of the Tempest Harvesters, so I kind of want to just cut the energy packet in general. These are just draw 2, discard 2 over time. I mean, that's still decent. Discarding Sneaky Snackers to those could be a big deal, or discarding a Transmigrant could be good still. But we also have the Shadow Spinner for the draw 2, discard 2s. And I have to cut something. Everything in the deck looks pretty dang good right now, honestly. Actually, except Nightblade, this card looks like garbage. It does literally nothing. But everything else in the deck looks pretty good at worst, so we have to cut good cards. We might be a little high on the top end stuff. Double Larva and Gargantua and Meddler. Even without Gargantua, we're now at a pretty good draw 2 or draw 3 count, right? So Deep Analysis, this is going to draw 3 cards during our turn twice. The Brain Surges both draw 3 during our opponent's turn. The the Unfathomable Truths draws 3 during our opponent's turn. The Shadow Spinner draws 3 during our turn. Yeah, we're doing real nice. The draw 3 theme. I think I can drop the energy package in the Gargantua. 2 more cuts to go. Could be land here because we want to play this as a blue-black duel the majority of the time. And then Stupor can also be played as a land when we need to. I mean, we can cut 1 land just 100% for sure and play 16 lands, but this is 17 lands because we're playing Inundated Archive. What's the blue to white count at? Or sorry, blue to black count? Pretty much even. So have the colors be pretty much even. Consuming Corruption wants us to be a little deeper on black sources. So if I were to cut 1 more land, I'd probably cut the island because this is like our 7th blue. And then I have as many swamps as possible towards Consuming Corruption. I don't think I want to cut another land though. Let's just try to keep things a little lower, a little cheaper. Yeah, let's just drop 1 more of the big slow cards, just drop the Meddler. Bunch of nice low curve value plays. Tempo control people out of the game. Looks pretty good to me. We will drop the Petrifying Meddler and call it a deck here. Alright, here we are on the play for game 1. We got a turn 2 Sneaky Snacker off of blue source, black source. Got the Flare of Denial alongside the Snacker and then the Shadow Spinner to bring it back. This is a synergistic hand, my lord. Come on out, my snacky friend. Might have to play the Stupor as a land. No, looks like we don't have to. Shadow Spinner doesn't have an enter the battlefield effect, so we can post-combat that. Only triggers when it attacks. Demon Fear the Shadow Spinner. I honestly don't mind Flare of Denialing that, sacking the Snacker to guarantee the spinner attacks and brings it back next turn. I'm just gonna do it. I feel like I'm just overly excited about using Flare of Denial on a Sneaky Snacker, but whatever. It's cool. I'm doing it. Discard another Snacker. No, let's discard Transmigrant for sure. But I have the mana to just play the Snacker here. Unless I want to hold up Wither and Bloom. Feels better to just play another Snacker than discard this one. So, card Transmigrant and Island. And just play this. Eldrazi Repurposer. Block the Shadow Spinner on the ground, but we've got a Wither and Bloom for that. Throw a counter onto the Sneaky Snacker, and then I could Lethal Throwdown sacking a Sneaky Snacker later and draw a card off of sacking it too. Seek into Stupor is like a counter spell we can hold up later, so I'm going to discard Demon Fury on a swamp. It's a tempo counterspell. We only just counter the spell for a turn. But if they get like a board wipe or something while we have the mana up, then just delaying a board wipe for one turn is going to be game. There's a Basking Brood Scale on the ground and Petrifying Meddler with Reach. So we have to lethal throw down the Meddler. Oh, please don't stun the Shadow Spinner. Good play from our opponent. Because I actually quite wanted to sack a Snacker and kill that attack, bring the Snacker back. I guess at this point we can just sack the Shadow Spinner and deal 5. Also put it back to their hand, but then they're gonna get the cast trigger again and stun another card. That just seems bad. Just go for 2-turn lethal. We can sink anything they cast that would stop the Snackers. Alright, put Demon Fear back in their hand. See if that's enough, or if they just go Island Demon Inferior. That's enough. There's a concession from our opponent. We start things off 1-0. Alright, here we are for game 2 on the play. Need to draw a land. But if we can draw one land, Conscription into Brain Surge is going to be great. Or actually, Serum Visionary can make sure that we hit more mana as well. Yeah, we've got huge card draw with Brain Surge and Serum Visionary off of hitting our 3rd mana. It can be any land and it'll work. That is not any land. And green-white can be a really fast strategy as well. I mean, they have 2 mana 3/3s with Vigilance, as you see here. Psychic Frog? Probably the best non-land card we could have drawn, but any land would be significantly better than Psychic Frog here. So 1 green mana. The +1/+1 counter combat trick in this format gives Death Touch, I think. Oh. So if they have the 1 green mana trick, even if I discard my whole hand, the Psychic Frog dies. But I guess, like, if I don't hit the lands anyway, I'm not going to be able to cast these spells. I mean, all but one of these is 3 mana or less. Yeah, they have the 1 green mana trick is waiting for them here. I guess I only have to discard 2 cards to actually threaten the trade, so I just get 3 for 1. With cards that I'm never going to be able to afford to cast anyway. Like, I'm not going to have time to hold that Opender up. I need to play Serum Visionary proactively here. Yeah, it gives Death Touch. That's so dumb. conscription into brain surge, I guess. We can get there. Well, on the plus side, it doesn't look like running into the trick matters. Now they have a 4/4. Kill that, gain 1. I'm at 9, take 6. I'm at 3. That is the most defensive play I have. Otherwise, I'm playing a 3/3. Trying to trade into a 3/3, dying to a combat trick here. I guess I can hold Snacker off since I have Brain Surge next turn. Well, that sucks. Wow. Seems good. I guess I'd probably get rid of the shield counter there. But it really doesn't matter. That was as unwinnable can get. All right, here we are for game number 3. We are 1-1 right now. This is an excellent start. The Snacker plus the Shadow Spinner to bring it back throughout the game. Shadow Spinner also makes Demon Inferior ridiculously cheap. And if we find another blue source, then I guess we have Brain Search to go with the Flooded Strand. I actually should have played Swamp first for that reason. Because that means if I top decked an island, I could go Swamp into Island for Sneaky Snacker, save the Flooded Strand to shuffle in whatever I don't want from the Brain Surge. Let's see. It matters. It doesn't matter. We didn't hit the island. Nightshade Dryad from our opponent. If I had removal for that, I would just kill it immediately, I think. But I don't, so they get to ramp up into whatever. Horrific Assault on the Shadow Spinner. Kill that and get rid of the combo. And then a Flying Haste Phoenix that can keep coming back from grave bestowed to something. Well, Terrifying Bomber is a Terrifying Bomb rare. I can play the Teachings tapped to guarantee a Wormcoil Larva next turn by playing this as a land, but I could also... Never mind. I was going to say I could also Brain Surge and Demon Inferior, but I can't because I don't have double blue untapped right now. So we just play a Seething Landscape and Brain Surge, probably. Like block the Phoenix, Brain Surge, shuffle away what we don't want. And reanimate the Snacker. That works too. That's decent Sneaky Snacker value. It's decent Brain Surge value. I'll take it. Okay, we want to keep one of these lands. Transmigrant's probably the worst. So we ditch land Transmigrant. And Shuffle them away. They have 3 evidence in graveyard. I don't know if Sneaky Snacker outgrinds the Phoenix. Or if we just send in. I did just play a good lifelinker, so I might just be sending in here and letting these fly right past each other. Alright, we keep sending right past each other. We're down to 12, they're down to 16. Hope Ender, not bad at all. I can drop a snacker and hold up this Hope Ender. Breathe your last. Blow that thing up and split it in 2. Sure. I could actually Teachings out free counterspell sacking the snacker, but I don't think it's worth it because it's fine if that dies. That's actually pretty nice to keep in mind, making the waterlogged teachings a bit better. Cursed Marauder, you got it. Got plenty of mana value to actually bestow the Phoenix onto something now. They can collect the evidence for it. Horrific Assault, and they have the mana up to pay for it, and I can't waterlog teachings here, so that just resolves. I could just trade this into the Phoenix. Force a bestow out of them. They're down to 2 cards now, and as soon as we hit a draw 3 or tutor for a draw 3, we're going to be way ahead. Getting 2 snackers back on board. And of course, drawing 3 cards is already just good. Sink into Stupor. That is a very good, very flexible card. I can Marauder and still hold up Sink into Stupor, but then I don't get to waterlog teachings for my draw 3 instant. I think I really just want to have the ability to tutor out the draw 3. I don't think Nightshade Dryad is likely to be immensely valuable to them at this point, with only like 2 cards in hand. They only had 1 in hand, they just top decked 1. Probably have enough mana at 5. They have 3 different colors already without the Dryad. Could be wrong. This could be poor threat assessment, but if they cast something super scary, I can just put it back in their hand for now. Pyretic Rebirth. Put the Phoenix back to their hand and kill my lifelinker? I think delaying that is fine. What is the other card in their hand? Oh, they're just going to bestow it at that point. Okay. They're going to rebirth a Marauder, killing the lifelinker now. Seems fine. Glimpse the impossible off the top. That is a draw 3 if they find cheap enough stuff. And they have the Chthonian Nightmare, a Cursed Marauder combo, the combo that haunts my dreams. Luckily, I have no more non-token creatures anyway, so it doesn't do anything yet. So they just go for the Wither and Bloom instead on the Lifelinker. Fair enough. Get our draw 3. I think I take Brain Surge for the cheap cost. Brain Surge and hold up Corruption and stuff. I guess if I Unfathomable Truths and hit a blue source, I can do that and Demon Inferior still. Being able to actually like keep the cards is a pretty big deal. Oops, sorry for bumping the mic, everybody. We didn't hit a blue source, but wow, do we have action for later. They can kill both our snackers, and then we can just deep analysis anyway. We could Brain Surge at instant speed if we need to. We need more lifelink. We've got another Worm Coil Larva. Consuming Corruption, obviously, for lifelinking removal. Drawing cards is good in general, but it looks even better here. Yep. Rebirth plus Marauder to clear out the snackers, and then I can just get them right back. They've got like infinite evidence over there, so if we ever get the Phoenix fully into the grave again, it's just going to come right back attached to another creature. And if I kill the Dryad, then the Phoenix still stays on board as a 2/2 flying haste. So I think we're just not touching the Dryad for the most part. I suppose that could be one of our biggest fears here, is just like milling out. You know what I could do? I could Deep Analysis and Demon Inferior the Phoenix back into their top 2. Doesn't feel bad. We get both the snackers back. Look for some lands. Start casting multiple spells in one of these turns. So the Snacker team is back. We put the Phoenix back into their deck, and next turn we get to hit them for 4 in the sky before they redraw the Phoenix. It all looks real good to me. If we just have a full grip of 7 still. All right, there's the concession from our opponent. Now we are 2-1, and I gotta go grab a drink between rounds before I cough absolutely everywhere to the point where I can't edit it out. All right, here we are now for what, game 4 or something? And apologies for the lack of commentary in the first few turns there. I have been going through a coughing fit, even with my new beverage. Oh wow, Chrysalis just gets around the Quaddle because it gets the spawn before. I had to cast this in response to that trigger. Whoops. My bad. Before the Eldrazi spawn thing resolved. It's kind of annoying. But we're still fine, we just kill it. Fairly certain I just like win here, even though I punted that pretty bad. It's 3 cards in grave, but I don't want to exile the Transmigrants ideally. So we discard a Brain Surge, because I've already got plenty of card draw, and I obviously don't want to exile the flashback card. Boop, boop, boop. Well, do I jump over the spawn for 1 piece of card draw? Maybe I don't jump over the spawn here. Alright, they don't block anyway. Makes me feel better about not jumping over. Yeah, sorry for the commentary and then the gameplay there. That was a little sloppy, but my throat has just been bothering me here. So my mind is on other stuff. Well, our opponent was in the Magical Christmas Land draft pod. 2 Chrysalis in the top 11 cards of their deck. Statistically speaking. That would mean they have a lot of Chrysalis in their deck, which is ridiculous. Because you take that over literally everything, including the vast majority of rares in the format. That's a 5/6. Wither and Bloom still works with Psychic Frog. But we do have to jump the frog into the sky here. This time. Because they have so many spawn tokens at this point. I don't even need the Wither and Bloom to eat the Chrysalis here. I can just discard cards. And they know it, so they're going to let it in and go to 7. Sneaky Snacker? Not bad. Try to go wide around the Chrysalis. Also a good card to discard to the Psychic Frog, actually. Discard that to Psychic Frog, draw 2 off of Deep Analysis. Doesn't seem bad at all. I think I'd rather hold up Wither and Bloom and Brain Surge. But yeah, since I can just discard the Snacker, that means I get to hold up Wither and Bloom and Brain Surge here. And I don't cast Snacker, I'm just going to reanimate it. Tusker is a big one. It's a second reacher, that's the most important part. Forgot about this. I guess I should have done this in response in case we drew into our counterspell. I forgot we had a counterspell in here. Guess we just go land, because I don't have a way to shuffle anyway. Discard a Sneaky Snacker to a Psychic Frog, draw 2 off of Deep Analysis. Still have Wither and Bloom up. Yeah. I have to exile Deep Analysis now to send the Frog into the Sky and the Transmigrant. But I think we kind of have to. Guess I could discard the Swamp here, or the Wormcoil Larva. Just so I don't have to exile Deep Analysis. That's probably worth it. Up 6. This is a 6/7, this is a 6/8. It's 9 power when all is said and done. After Wither and Bloom, it's 9 power, so I can Wither and Bloom and discard both of these, have no cards left in hand, but wipe both out without losing Psychic Frog. I guess I wouldn't wipe both out, I'd wipe one of them out. It's gotta be Chrysalis, right? It's slightly smaller right now, but it will be bigger later. Six, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. -3 is 9. 8 toughness, 9, 10 toughness, discarding these. Well, they didn't make me discard them, so I'm not going to. I could have discarded both of them to threaten to kill the Tusker, but then they would just sack a single Eldrazi spawn. And it's like RIP. And I've discarded these two just to kill one Eldrazi spawn, which is definitely not worth it. Alright, there's the concession. Psychic Frog is more than busted enough with a great synergistic curve out there that we can break through the double Chrysalis. That game could have played out way better for us. There was an early turn that I could have Hope entered in response to the Chrysalis's triggered ability so that the Hope Ender's counter resolved before they got the Eldrazi spawn tokens. That play alone would have probably single-handedly ended this game much sooner than it ended up being. So, because we would have had the destroy target creature removal for the second Chrysalis instead of just the first one. And then, yeah, it would have been much faster without having to break through the second Chrysalis. So, all right. Really, really good stuff from Psychic Frog. Pretty loose plays overall, but just an excellent hand gets there regardless. And we are 3-1 heading into game 5. See if we can run it back, shall we? Psychic Frog, our best friend today. Start off with our inundated archive to get there on turn 2. We can even discard a Sneaky Snacker to it again for our Unfathomable Truths later. Actually, Psychic Frog draws a card, Serum Visionary draws a card, and we've drawn one for turn. The Sneaky Snacker's gonna come back on turn 3 if the Psychic Frog connects. Because that's 1, 2, 3 draws. Oh, wow. And the Transmigrant is obviously a great card to discard to it. Let's see if it's going to connect here. Propagator Drone is the blocker. So they might not want to block Psychic Frog because Propagator Drone is just a pretty good card in general. So let's see. Let's go for it. No block. Let's go. Sneaky Snacker, get in the grave. Transmigrant, you too. Why not? Draw the card off the Psychic Frog. Serum Visionary for the third draw for turn. Get the Sneaky Snacker on board. And it is time for our opponent to have a very bad time. Look at that. Psychic Frog, MVP here. Glimpse the impossible from our opponent, which just gives them a few chumps for the Psychic Frog if nothing else. Actually, those Eldrazi spawn with the Propagator Drone could evolve a lot, and that would be pretty bad. I guess I can just Curse Marauder to clear out the drone here. That'd be fine. If they don't trade in a Visionary. I'm actually pretty happy if they do. Again, because with all those spawn on board to go with the Evolve ability from Propagator Drone. Be kind of wild. Okay. They're going to trade into the Serum Visionary, which is fine with me. I'll just hold up Sink into Stupor then, instead of maraudering the drone away. If we don't need to counter anything with Sink into Stupor, we can just bring back the Transmigrant. Echoes of Eternity. I feel like if I counter that, they just lose. Because they have to spend the whole turn doing nothing. And now they're going to have to spend their whole next turn doing nothing again to try to get this going. So that is indeed the concession, and we are now 4-1 and into Game 6. Here we are for Game 6. This is not keepable. It's 4 black cards and 3 blue sources. This is better. Like Marauder to go with the Snacker. A little more than Transmigrant to go with Shadow Spinner. I don't know. These all work really well together, whichever ones I choose. It that heralds the end. I don't mind maraudering that, but I would like to be mana efficient and get the Shadow Spinner down immediately. RIP Shadow Spinner. With no more card draw in the hand, do I still sacrifice the Snacker instead of the Marauder to kill this? Probably. Could also Demon Inferior. That'd be fine, because no matter what, I'm going to end up with a single 2-1 on board, whether I Demon Inferior or a Cursed Marauder. Yeah, it's actually just Demon Inferior, I guess. We're certainly behind in cards right now, but we've got a lot of card draw in this deck, so we could still come back. I'm just naturally behind from the mulligan. Some rough draws here, missing out on the 5th land for Larva a couple turns in a row. Slows us down a lot, gives our opponents some time to draw into all their Writhing Chrysali. At least our opponent is on a very slow start as well. There's the Flooded Strand for the Wormcoil Larva this turn. Alright, cycle Warped Tusker so they can cast a 7-drop next turn. They're probably going to cast a big 7-drop and we'll Marauder it. Yep, But it's got Cascade, so it's going to be 2 creatures most likely. Yeah, and now the Marauder just hits a Repurposer, which is quite bad. Alright, Altasaur was pretty incredible there, but Breathe Your Last is a pretty incredible draw. So I can still get in the sky. I don't hate splitting up the larva here. Make sure that they don't have a good sack for Marauder later. If their next play is just going to be another big 7-drop or 8-drop, and it doesn't come with an additional creature, then we can Marauder. Modern Horizons 3 called. Guess who's back? Please don't play another creature. Sick. Ooh, plus that as the draw. Let's see. All right, good work, Accursed Marauder. We take those. Now work our way through some Eldrazi spawn. No blocks, so they're just gonna like play a Mythic Eldrazi and kill me. If they need that much mana, 11? Yeah, that's gonna be a Mythic Rare Eldrazi that nullifies everything I've done and wins the game. Probably. No. Okay, that's not what I thought it was gonna be, but it is almost as bad as a Mythic Eldrazi. With this many spawn on the board, they can just turret fire a whole board pretty much. I've got the Corruption to kill the spawn gang after we untap, but they have enough spawn here. I mean, they sack 3 spawn for creature they want to kill. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more Eldrazi on their board. They could kill 2 more things, yeah. Deep analysis. Well, welcome back, Sneaky Snacker. I have to do this pre-corruption or I can't do both in the same turn, which means give them a Sneaky Snacker to kill off Commander. I also have to specifically top deck a black source if I want to hope to kill Commander in the same turn. So if they top deck anything that makes more Eldrazi spawn, it's going to be way worse to not have just killed Commander immediately. I think I send in and kill Commander here. Post-combat after they choose if they want to chump with any spawn. Or maybe sack the Commander itself here. Yeah, sack the Commander itself. Alright, you got me. Oh, wait, they don't. They're just going to trade it. Either way, it's Death Touch. The Commander's dead. That's the important part. And we draw 2, holding up a black in case I draw another swamp. Sick. Alright, that was not nearly as bad as a Mythic Rare Eldrazi would have been. I think Emrakul would win the game. They would have just beat us if they had Emrakul. Kozilek and Ulamog would have been, like, bad. But just corruption so that this is separate instead of... Yeah, I think I have to corruption here so that if I top deck removal, then I actually kill it. Because if I don't corruption and then I top deck removal, I use the top deck removal to get rid of the spawn, but then the Hydra's still there and corruption isn't big enough to kill the Hydra itself. Alright, so... start working our way up to a really big conscription zombie here. already a 6/6. Cool. Just draw 3 one more turn and it's too big for them. I guess now they can double block it, but I'd kill the Hydra. So good. Brain Surge. Well, there's another draw 3 to make this 9 power. I don't think I need to do that as a combat trick. I think I should just do it right now. Because they know I'm not going to attack with it unless it's like a 9/9 anyway. We hold up Flare and Bloom here. Get rid of Visionary. Now if they want to kill the 9/9, they have to let Sneaky Snacker through and take some damage from that. Even if I Wither and Bloom, this still dies, so just say cool. And pass. Writhing Chrysalis. Flare of Denial that, so they have no flying blockers still. Two-turn clock. Actually, I Wither and Bloom and just kill them. I put a +1/+1 counter on the flyer. Yep. There's the concession. We are now 5-1 in the money with this sweet deck. First time doing this archetype. I guess we played blue-black before, but we played like a dedicated reanimator build with a bunch of victimizes and the quests that returned thing from grave. Didn't get to do the Sneaky Snacker draw 3 nonsense that we're doing this time around, so feels much different than the other time we went for blue-black stuff. That feels pretty good. We're 5-1, heading into round 7. Right, here we are for round 7 on the draw. Four mana in the hand even without the teachings, so I think we just save that. Sarpedium Simulacrum is the start. So 1/1 they can sack for 4 damage for 4 mana. Let that stick around here. I don't feel the need to Wither and Bloom it yet. For Purposer, I also don't need to Wither and Bloom because that has a good ability when it dies, but maybe our hand is slow enough to just stop the 3/3 right now. Yeah, stop the 3 extra damage here. But it does mean some great ramp for our opponent. If they have a land for turn, then they have the ability to play a 6-drop. If I play Shadow Spinner, then their worst play next turn is to just kill it with Simulacrum. So I'm going to hold up Hopeender Quaddle and really hope that it can counter something here. But I think against a deck with a bunch of Eldrazi spawn, if they don't cast anything, I just run it out, because it's going to be pretty hard to tax them without them leaving any spawn on board, because usually they want to leave some spawn on board for reasons other than mana anyway. So they're just naturally going to be playing around a counter unless you pay one kind of card. Let's see if they want to Simulacrum the Quaddle here. I don't want to really throw a Wither and Bloom counter on it and have it just get shot anyway. Shadow Spinner's not that great without draw 3 synergies anyway, so I might want to just Waterlog Teachings since I'm not really under pressure right now. What is awkward is this Quaddle's actually devoid, so I can't tutor for the flare and counter something, because I can't sacrifice a blue creature right now. because I don't have a blue creature, technically. Just gonna pass turn. Alright. Got some high mana value nonsense in there, or just flood. Sure. Kill the flyer. And we find unfathomable truths, right? Already got a lethal throwdown. That gives me the creature to sack to it for later. A revealed counterspell is not super strong. We don't see the creature we need to kill yet, and when we do, we have the throwdown. Yeah, it's just unfathomable truths. Alright, we're chilling. Two damage a turn. We're on an 8-turn clock. Basking Brood Scale. Gonna add a good chunk to their damage. There we go. Now we find some threats. Six mana. Don't really want to spend any removal right now. So I just cast a Shadow Spinner and a Snacker. That seems fine. And I've still got the Flare Up. They have probably found their Simulacrum target finally now that Shadow Spinner's on the board. Ghost Fire Slice. I can Flare of Denial this, and then they can just sack Simulacrum still, but that requires them to sack Simulacrum, which is something. Still helps us whittle down their board a little bit. I don't hate that, but I don't love it either. I'm gonna do it. Because, I mean, now they have to kill Shadow Spinner, because they know if they don't, we just get that sneaky snacker back. So they have to just spend the turn, kill it. Yeah, this looks fine. Take 3, go to 11. Need another black source for that one. Well, if Serum Visionary draws into another piece of card draw, we could bring back the snacker. It did not. It found another snacker, but that's still a good one. I like these draws, but I want to play a snacker. I want to use this Flooded Strand here. Yeah, I'm just going to use the Flooded Strand. Plop out another Snacker. Let's actually go ahead and put 3-2 against the 3-3. Setting up for whenever our next draw 3 turn is setting up for that turn to be great. If I can trade this into their 3-3, then I have double Snacker and Grave. Or yeah, we force removal and have double Snacker and Grave. That works too. Cool, cool, cool. Go to 7. There is the Corruption mana. So we're on that on Brood scale. I'm gonna play around like Eldrazi Linebreaker or something here and pass. Okay, that is not Eldrazi Linebreaker. The combat trick could be pretty bad for me here too. I just take the hit and only respond if they try to buff the board. I don't want to end up doing corruption and then they just hit me harder with a combat trick. Thriving Skyclaw, get a flyer? Yeah, I'll kill the flyer with Breathe Your Last because that gains me life even if I kill a flyer with that one. Whereas Breathe Your Last does not gain me life if I kill the Brood Scale, because that's the Void. Cool, there's the Brain Surge to get all the Snackers back. We're just golden now. Just Demon Inferior for 1 mana instead and save Breathe Your Last. All 3 mana up at instant speed if I need it. And the Seething Landscape to shuffle away these lands. Let's go. Incredible draw. And I've got a Cursed Marauder for their next threat. Alright, pass turn facing the Snacker Squad. A Psychic Frog with 10 cards engraved, that's just always going to be a flyer. Their flyer's back, here it is. Welcome. I think I saved the instant speed removal and used a Cursed Marauder here. And there's the concession from our opponent. Blue-black is just grinding these games out. Turns out drawing cards is pretty dang good. We are now 6-1, heading into the final boss with this deck, with 2 shots at a full 7-win run. Alright, here we are on the draw with a turn 2 Psychic Frog. We've also got a Consuming Corruption for 2 here, and a Demon Inferior to try to keep the path clear. Gonna be a keep. Hoping that Psychic Frog just goes crazy, but does depend on what early interaction they have. If it's going to be damage-based, where we can save it by discarding cards, or if it's just going to straight up kill the thing, and then we can't do anything. Got the perfect card to discard to it with the Sneaky Snacker, although it will be a little while before we draw 3 in 1 turn. So the Snacker's not going to come back immediately, but if we have to discard a card to save the frog, Snacker is the card of choice right now. Fanged Flames. Discard 3. I mean, if the frog sticks around, it can redraw 3 cards easy. That's a draw. Absurd card is absurd. Do your thing, Psychic Frog. Path of Annihilation. So some chumps on the ground. I've got the cards engraved to exile, but I don't want to exile the Snacker. Oh. So let's not exile the Snacker then. Think into Stupor. Okay, so I can hold on to Teachings then, because if I don't top deck another land, I can play this untapped. Although, yeah, no, that's the best play for sure, because then I'm also holding this up as interaction if I need it. All right. I was going to argue that we wouldn't want to play this as land, because it's a pretty good counter spell, but it's not if I don't have double blue up, so we have to play the untapped blue source and hold this here. Murdering Bolt on the 3/3 on the ground, that's fine. Sage of the Unknowable is also fine. Cool. Rain Surge, so that's a draw 3. Bring back the Sneaky Snacker. That'll only be a second card engraved towards Psychic Frog. We play Teachings tapped now to lock in Unfathomable Truths. They get to trump here, sadly. But we get to bring back the Snacker and get a 3/3 during their end step if we don't need to stoop or something. Kind of feel like we need to stupor that. Well, if they can't immediately cast a 7-drop and gain life here, Psychic Frog's really close to just killing them in the sky. In fact, it is killing them in the sky. So we let that resolve and just make sure our grave has 3 cards in it and attack them for 8 in the sky and they're dead. So I just Brain Surge here. It's land, Visionary doesn't really matter. They're insanely dead in the sky. If I just play Stupor and Brain Surge now to have 3 cards in my graveyard. I guess I'll Brain Surge first and see if there's something else to play than Stupor. For the 3 engrave. Curse Marauder, sure, that works. And we'll just see what kind of instant they have. Because that's the 3 cards engrave. For lethal in the sky. Jump, and then here's damage number 8. Oh, they do have the destroy a creature with flying? Oh my god. We got. We still have a 6/6 and they're down to 6. I was exactly destroy a flyer too. So if we just played it really slow and just kept hitting, clearing out one spawn a turn, we would be fine. I think we still had to just go for lethal there. We're still in a really good spot. But yeah, obviously they're going to have some big 8 drop to gain a bunch of life and stabilize, but I think our deck is still well designed to win these long games, even against high impact spells like that Riddle Keeper. We're chilling, really. They can't afford to attack us too hard. We're facing a potential 9/9 coming up. No. So many Chrysali today. Plus, they have exactly the mana they need, even if I waddle it right now. 6/7 mana. I have to Unfathomable Truths and then sacrifice the spawn that it makes to cast one of these 2 spells, probably. Feels like what I have to do here. There's a Wither and Bloom. So, counter unless they pay 1. They have to sack one of their spawn without a Chrysalis on board, but then they still have 3 spawn after the dust settles. Make the Chrysalis like a 5 power reach blocker. Yeah, no, it just doesn't even do anything, really. I mean, it gives me another flying threat. I can stupor the Chrysalis later. Yeah, I guess I should have just cast this. Clearing out at least one spawn when the Chrysalis isn't on the board is slightly better than clearing out no spawn if I'm just going to play the Quaddle anyway. Stupor to hit for 5 in the sky. I think I just attack with the 9/9. Sneaky Snacker, Wither and Bloom block the Riddle Keeper. Rumbling again. Next poor night. Oh, sweet Jesus. They're at 14 now. We have 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 power on board. They're just dead. We take all this damage, and then we bounce the Riddle Keeper and Wither and Bloom, the 0/1. Then RIP. There's the concession from our opponent, and we are 7-1 for a full trophy run with the sweet blue-black draw 3 deck. It was a lot of fun. This is pretty sweet stuff. The sneaky snackers are the funnest part for me personally, but getting that gigantic zombie army was sweet as well. The shadow spinner triggering it all was great. Yeah, the brain surge, unfathomable truths, deep analysis kind of cards, like real consistent ways to trigger these draw 3 things to make conscription and sneaky snacker just really pop off. But even the psychic frog just randomly being able to double up into extra card draw, psychic frog plus visionary turning into a draw 3 in one of those games was insane, letting us discard the snacker and the transmigrant to just immediately put the snacker back on board. Psychic Frog, mega bomb. Just one of these really cheap, really good value creatures. Doesn't look like a bomb, but it just does so much for so little mana that it really changes the course of the game super quickly. So, best card in the deck is definitely Psychic Frog. This thing was a bomb and a half, but the synergy in general was definitely there, and it was a very fun, very powerful one for the full trophy run. We're going to grab the maximum prize out of today's draft. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed this video and are interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.